Welcome to another exciting episode of the Gemini Way podcast. Today I'm here with Dawn Marsden, Head of Supplier Claims Management at eSure. In today's conversation, we'll delve into Dawn's career background and her pathway into leadership, especially being a woman in this industry. We've discussed the challenges that Dawn has faced along her journey and, more importantly, how she's overcome these obstacles to inspire change. Stay tuned as we unravel Dawn's insightful journey, and I hope you find this as inspiring as I did. Hi Dawn, thank you for being with us on the podcast today.
Hi Rachel.
So you are working at eSure at the moment as Head of Claim Supplier Management.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So you recently transitioned from LV last year. You were at LV, I think, for 10 years. I was reading your bio.
That's right.
And so I think take me back to the very beginning, your full background, what got you into this industry?
Yeah, so I've only really been in the insurance motor industry for the last 11 years. So when I sort of left school, went to college, etc., and then I fell into a job as a buyer, as a junior buyer for a construction company, and then I moved on, and I stayed in that sort of buying profession, and it was really utility companies and the Environment Agency, and then worked my way up to sort of senior buyer. And then I specialised in supply relationship management because I thought actually that's the discipline I really enjoy, and specialised in that. Then I got a job opportunity in Australia, so I moved over there for 4 years doing that. And then it was when I was coming back from Australia that I needed to find a job, and LV was advertising for a supply relationship manager. So I had no experience in the insurance industry, but I do know supply management. So I applied for it and joined. And that was when LV was quite at the start of their journey and growing, and joined the team there looking after the motor supply chain. And then whilst I was there, I sort of got promoted a couple of times, and in the end I was heading up the supply relationship management team for all of claims. And then sort of got to there. After 10 years, I felt like it was time to move on. Really loved LV, but, time for the next challenge, and joined eSure 12 months ago.
Wow, amazing. So in terms of the theme for today's podcast, we're doing Women in Business and International Women's Day. I know we've spoke prior, and my sort of, I guess, feeling is how do you get women into this industry? How do you become a woman in the industry? We know it's very male dominated. So how have you found it?
Yeah, I found when I first joined, I was sort of a little bit taken aback at, because it is so male dominated, and you quite often can be the only female in a room, and it can be a little bit intimidating. But I just found by having the support of other people, whether male or female, and there are some really good female role models in the industry as well, so looking around for those, and it is challenging, but it is getting so much better now. There is more and more females in the industry, given those opportunities.
Brilliant. And do you think, is there more to be done? Like what sort of next for women?
I think it's carrying on doing what we're doing. I think keep making sure that you've got those role models, keep sort of promoting women, supporting them. It can be difficult, as I said, if you're the only female in the room quite often, and getting into an industry, if you haven't got any role models to sort of aspire to, you think, well, I don't see myself there. You need to have people you can relate to. So I think the more people in those roles, and I think also making sure that we have not just females but male allies as well, that make it a comfortable space for females, so they don't feel that intimidated, that they feel that they've got a space at the table as well. So I think it's just keep more of the same, making sure that if we're having networking events, we go for those more diverse networking events rather than the constant golfing events that a female might not feel that comfortable at. So it's about creating that environment, and I think we've all got a job, male and female, to do that.
No, that's a good point. And I think when you were at LV for certain, and you've carried this forward into eSure, you're big on creating change, aren't you?
Yeah.
And opening opportunities. So what's been done within your work career to make that change?
Yeah, so when I was at LV, I mean, you've got your day job to do, but I'm also very passionate about all things sort of, it's the ED&I now, equity, diversion and inclusion, and the sort of ESG agendas. So I think it's about finding a space to promote that, trying to be an advocate and a role model. I also, whilst I was at LV, I co-sponsored, we had a gender inclusion network. So again, that was for male and females, and just really highlighting some of the challenges, giving people a space to go to, highlighting things like trying to raise education and awareness about unconscious biases, etc. Because a lot of times I don't think people aren't intending to exclude people, but it's about consciously including people as well. So it's about promoting that, creating those forums, education. And I think if you just keep talking about it enough and raising profiles, you start seeing that change coming through.
And did that come off the back of anything? So did you, I guess, maybe before obviously joining LV, we're talking 11 years ago and beyond, I guess, were there times that you notably had felt pushed aside or different?
Yeah, quite a lot, I think, of times in my career, unfortunately, where I felt gender has held me back. I've had, again, as we said, sort of unconscious biases where, you've gone for roles and, you might walk into a room and so I've got male direct reports and you've walked into a room and there's an automatic assumption that you might work for those, particularly when you're younger, because I think when you're young, we've got age and being a female, you've got those two unconscious biases. And particularly, I felt quite a lot of pressure when I had young children. My children are now sort of teenagers, but particularly when they were sort of 2 and 3 and I was trying to really forge my career, quite often I remember having an interview once and someone asking me, well, who's going to look after the children? Because we're moving over to Australia. And my male counterparts don't get asked that question. No. And so you feel like you've already got that pressure to prove that you can be a parent. And be successful in your career. So it just feels like a bit of an added pressure. And I guess what I've tried to go is say, well, I'll be an advocate and say, this isn't okay, acceptable. Yeah. And it is okay for women to be successful in their career and successful in their family lives as well. You don't need to compromise. And I thought I could just carry on moaning about it, or I could proactively try and put myself out there, put myself forward a little bit, so that if you can inspire somebody else and them think, oh, actually, I can do that, then that's a great thing, isn't it?
Yeah, hopefully. Absolutely. No, it's a really good point, Dawn, because we have, here at Gemini, it is more male-dominated than female. We are about driving that change, though. We've got female general managers, a lot of females within head office. And I've come in today and I said, we've got Dawn Marsden here this afternoon. We're doing a podcast interview on the theme of women in business. And one of the ladies said to me, brilliant, let me know when that's live. And it's actually, it's not nice to hear that response. We don't get that with, every other one we've done. That's been featured around mental health. It could be another theme, but it was really nice to hear that.
Yeah, and I feel, to be honest, Rachel, I feel very privileged that I do get to, got to a point in my career where I guess, you're reasonably successful and you get asked to do things like this. And I feel a bit of a responsibility and very privileged that actually, you think if you can give back a little bit through your experiences and what I've experienced through, being in male-dominated industries, working really hard, bringing up a family at the same time, and just wanting to do a good job. If you can sort of give, and I've had great role models, both male and female, throughout my career, and I think if you can just give back that support to, if you're just one female in the industry that goes, I wasn't sure about if this is a job for me, but actually someone else has done it and I can make it, then, as I said, I feel very privileged for that.
So the motor industry is becoming more diverse, but I guess how do we overcome the stigmas?
So I think, as I said, it's female, having role models that people can relate to. I think the other thing we need to, there are more females in the industry now at all levels and across the industry, but it's about normalising. So I think we still go, oh, wow, it's a woman in the industry. Yeah. And what we need is that it to be normalised. So, as you said, inclusive networking events, we need to make the work environment a great place for women. So that's about offering flexible roles, moving away from the 9 to 5 if that's that's what we need to do to encourage more women into the workforce, offering part-time roles as well. So it is just moving that stigma away and encouraging women in.
Have you had any mentors or role models that you've looked up to throughout your career?
I think lots, both in my career as and outside. So it's really hard to mention anyone. But I think, mentors can be anybody from, for anybody. It doesn't have to be within the workplace. I think, if I think about my son and his football coach, he's a great mentor for him. Or you might have a CEO of an organisation that you can aspire to look up to. I think the key things about having mentors that you can, it's got to be someone you can relate to. So, again, having quite a few strong females in the industry are people that you can relate to and you can aspire to. I think as well, I've been really lucky during my time over the last sort of 11 years in the insurance and motor industry, having people that have supported me. I've been invited to lots of inclusive events, so enterprise have run events that I've been attended to. I've been asked to speak at I Love Claims events, which whilst completely out of my comfort zone, you do it and you're really supported, and having those people that sort of believe in you and say, you can do it and get up there. I've been really lucky to do that, and you feel great afterwards, but you just got to do it. So I think encouraging women, giving them that support, and men as well, to develop their career. The industry is great for doing that.
Yeah, definitely. And I take it it's a subject you're very passionate about. You act, I presume, as a mentor to others as well within your industry, within eSure and when you were at LV. Is there the mentoring that you really want to push forward? Yeah,
and I really would like to do more of it. I think anything opportunities you get without sort of coming across like a mad feminist, it's about supporting. And I think so. I've got a couple of ladies in my team to try and encourage them, and it's amazing the women that I come across in the workplace that. And I manage both men and women and have done throughout the years. Women, you can often find they have less confidence than their male counterparts, and it's that sometimes can hold them back. So just recognising that, supporting them, saying to them it's okay to be outside your comfort zone because that's the only way you're going to sort of succeed, really helps. So it's about having those mentors, and that's part of the role that I love, and not just as well people that directly report to me. So even within the supply chain world, I come across ladies that I work with and they say, oh, can you give me a bit of advice, or how did you cope with this, particularly those that are a bit sort of early on in their career. And it's great to be able to support that, and I'd like to do some more. I've done a little bit of talking at schools just around careers, with people 15, 16, what do they want to do, and also saying you don't have to always come from a privileged background to achieve that either. So I think that's important as well.
Yeah, notice. Dawn, outside of family, friends and work, is there any quotes that you stand by that inspire you, or people that inspire you?
Yeah, so there's a quote, and I'm not sure who quoted this, but a great quote that says, in the future there'll be no women leaders, just leaders. And I love that. And I just think if we can get to that place where we don't talk about working mums or female leaders, and it's just we're working parents or we're leaders, that would be great. And I also recently, eSure had a senior leadership event a few months ago, and they invited a lady called Catherine Garoud, who came, and she is a professional speaker on inclusion, and she's recently wrote a book called Conscious Inclusion. And it was really eye-opening. And one of her quotes was, unless you're consciously including, you're almost certainly unconsciously excluding people. And it really made me think about inclusion and, not just females, but, backgrounds, age, cultures, etc. So it's about, we need to consciously include people, otherwise we might be excluding them per se.
Going back to your career in the motor industry, what actually inspired you to join the motor industry as a whole? Yeah,
so I said I needed a role when I came back from Australia, so the one at LV came up, so I sort of fell into it. But I guess what inspired me to stay was Love the industry. There's some great people that are passionate about customers, people, the culture, loved it. But I also recognised that it was a really, really male-dominated industry, and there was a real opportunity to sort of make a change. So going back 11, 12 years ago, we're in a much better place than we are now, but there was a real opportunity to sort of say, well, if I do stay and succeed in this industry, I can also, as well as do my day job, I can help try and be part of that change. And that sort of excited me.
In support of International Women's Day, what advice would you give to women coming into business or into the industry?
My biggest advice would be get out of your comfort zone, and don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone, because the more you're out of your comfort zone, the more it becomes your normal comfort zone. I think also we've all suffered from imposter syndrome, so that, am I good enough to be here? Do I deserve a seat at the table? Well, do you know what, you are? So just believe in that, and you'll be good enough. I think also don't apologise for being a woman or a parent, and I spent a lot of time being defensive or apologising or making excuses. You don't need to do that. Just bring your own qualities. Don't try to act like a male or act, in a different way. Just your success will be from bringing your own qualities and being you, and that's what you bring that's different. So I would just say don't shy away from that and be you.
Taking it back to eSure and your current role, where do you see that growing and claims management growing?
Well, in terms of claims management and the future for insurance, I think without a doubt, as the world changes, digital expectations and customers changing, the way that we settle claims in the industry has to change. For eSure, it's quite an exciting time because we're just completing our big transformation project, so we're onto new platforms, which will set us up really well to be able to settle claims digitally, be more agile. I think we're really well positioned for the future. So that in terms of eSure. In terms of my own role, I'm very passionate about making sure that we've got the right partners in place, because our supply chain plays such a key pivotal role in our success. So for me, my own personal, it's about growing those strategic relationships like we have with Gemini, making sure we're getting the best out of those, and also doing the other stuff, not just the claim settlement side, but the other things that customers are expecting more and more of, and our people around, whether it's environmental initiatives, social initiatives, and really supporting that wider agenda, which is becoming the expected norm now.
Yeah, we at Gemini support and contribute with Plant a Tree scheme.
Yep.
That's something we're quite big on as part of our ESG scheme. Is Plant a Tree still at the forefront, I guess, of eSure's wants? Yeah,
so that's just one of, we're doing lots of initiatives around, how can we be more sustainable. We have one of our objectives is driving good, and I sit on our internal sort of ESG committee for that, because claims and supply chain plays a big part. So Plant a Tree, across our network last year we did over 900 trees were planted, so that's in place of customers having a courtesy car, and we absolutely want to continue to drive that, because not only does it sort of make a great difference, it's real tangible. It's something our customers can see. It's something that our people in our repair shops can see. It gets a real good feel factor about it, and it makes a real difference. We're also doing lots of work around, we want to look at how we can better use green parts. Where can we take that? The next generation green parts are being used, but probably not optimal at the moment. What else can we do in that space to encourage that? And then I also look after home claim supply chain. So in the homes area, we're looking at things like circular economy. So working with our partners to say, well, actually, where we're taking damaged goods out of a property, what can we do to recirculate those in the economy for the greater good? So loads of things that we can do in supply.
So the greener initiative is
definitely top of the agenda.
Pushed.
Yeah, very much so.
Dawn, thank you so much for today. That's been so insightful and really interesting. Have you got any final words to say to the listeners, especially those that are maybe thinking about coming into this industry, women in particular?
I think, well, for one, there is never a dull day in this industry. I love it. Don't get time to breathe, but absolutely love it. And I think also there's a whole range of jobs that women can do in this industry. So it's becoming much easier for women to have the jobs on the shop floor, if you'd like. But also, as well as that, there's all sorts of different jobs, whether it's working in pricing or underwriting, or marketing, digital, data, customer liaison teams, or even come and join supply management. There's lots of career opportunities, and I think just for the leaders in the business, by having a more diverse workforce, you have better representation of your customers and your customer needs. You've got more diversity of thought, better leadership, and it's a proven fact. There's been lots of studies out there that saying the companies with the more diverse leaders in their business are more profitable. So why wouldn't you?
Now, a theme I guess we finish on all of our podcasts is, have you got any stories or favourite quotes that you want to share with the listeners?
Start with a little story which still riles me, but hopefully we're not in this place anymore. But I used to, going back to my early career, lots of sort of unconscious biases. So I would ask all men and women to please, think about what you might say to a woman or anybody, actually, then you're being sort of unconsciously biased. So I remember when I first was working in Australia and got a job, and I'd gone over, and there was 10 of us that went over. I was the only female. 10 of us went over, joined an organisation, and I was speaking to a new supplier in the reception area, waiting for my colleague, and you get talking, and I was, yes, just come over from the UK, got 2 children, they're 2 and 3 years old, and he went, oh, that's great, so how many days a week are you working? I was like, oh, well, 5, but it was like that unconscious going, oh, should I not be working 5 days a week? Does that make me a bad parent? And, that cultural norm. And I asked my male colleague after the meeting, because he had children exactly the same age, and he was like, no, I've never ever been asked that before. So again, just stop to think about how you might make somebody feel. And another one was just an assumption. Again, we'd gone over and got our business visas, and obviously it was my role, but if we was outside the workplace, or you met somebody in the park or something, straight away to go, so what does your husband do then that's brought you out here? So that unconsciously it's assumed that the man might have the more senior role. So hopefully we are getting away from that and moving away, but we just need people to really think about what they say. And then I guess for anybody out there starting their careers, I guess my favourite quote would be to dream big. Just dream big. Don't have anything that's stopping you.
Love that, Dawn. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me. I hate watching myself in videos.
No, but when it gets made into the video, it's like,
and you're going to make it
just
look
looks
lovely.
so good. Yeah, it does. It just looks so good.